is called The Patient Will See You Now. The Future of Medicine is in Your Hands. Author of the bestseller Creative Destruction of Medicine. And today we're talking about his latest book, The Patient Will See You Now. Well, Eric, let's talk about what else you can do with your cell phone. You can use your cell phone to test for your breath, saliva for flu virus, strep throat, heart failure, drugs, and also as a microscope. So lead us through some of the attachments and apps you can modify your smartphone with so that you can do all these things that normally are done at a doctor's laboratory.
Right. Well, it is amazing, and this is a whole revolution in lab medicine. And so whether it's an infection, most infections now can be diagnosed. An example, in Rwanda, syphilis and HIV were diagnosed with 99% accuracy with a 50-cent attachment in minutes. And if you can do that in Rwanda, you can do that in virtually almost any infectious disease. The Zika virus, not yet, but Ebola, TB, so many others now can be diagnosed with malaria.
The real political tax in a society such as ours is to criticize the workings of institutions that appear to be both natural and independent, to criticize and attack them so that one can fight against them. Michael Foucault. Foundation of Sociology. In his Mahwar Dima, IBN Khaldun describes Asad Biya, the Arabian concept of solidarity or social cohesion. C. 1377. Henry de Saint Simon propose a science of society in Essay on the Science of Man, 1813. In Theory, the Practice of Society in America, Harriet Martineau described the social inequalities and the oppressive treatments of slaves, women, and the working class. Karl Marx produces the first volume of this comprehensive analysis of capitalism, Das Kapital. Ferdinand Tönnies differentiate between traditional communities and modern society. In Jamin Inscarft and Giselle Scarft, 1887. Adam Ferguson, Essay on the History of Civil Society, explained the importance of civic spirit to counteract the destructive influence of capitalism in society, 1767. Auguste Comte, Course in Positive Philosophy, details the evolution of sociology as a science, 1830 to 42. In the Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels predict social change as a result of proletarian revolution, 1848. Herbert Spencer, multi-volume system of synthetic philosophy, argues that society evolved like life forms, and only the strongest survive. 1874 to 85. Sociology did not establish its credential as a discipline until the 20th century, but its many standard of thought, approaches, and fields of study had evolved from centuries of work by historians and philosophers. Although the first recognizable sociology study was made by IBN Carl Dern in the 14th century, the pointers of sociology as we know it today only began to emerge from the late 19th century when society underwent a sea change. In Western Europe, Enlightenment ideas were replacing traditional beliefs and Industrial Revolution and transforming the way that people lived and worked. These observes identify social change being driven by forces that became known as modernity, which include the effects of industrialization and the growth of capitalism, and the less tangible but no less significant effects of secularization and rationality. A social science. Modern society has a product of the age of reason, the application of rational thought and scientific discovery in keeping with this mood, and pioneer of sociology, such as French philosopher Henry de Saint-Simon and his portage Auguste Comte, said to provide verifiable evidence to support theories. Comte believed that not only could the forces of social order be explained by rules similar to laws of physics and chemistry, but that applies sociology and brings about social reform in the same way that applied science has led to technology advances. Like Comte, Karl Marx believed that the purpose of studying society is not simply to describe or explain it, but also to improve it. He was just as keen to be scientific, but chose as his model the new science of economics, identifying capitalism as the major factor of modernity, driving social change. Almost a century before Marx, the Scottish philosopher Adam Ferguson had warned of the threat to traditional social cohesion posed by the self-interest of capitalism, and both Harriet Martineau and Marx's colleagues, Frederick Engels described the social injustice of industrial capitalist society in the mid-19th century. Another pioneer sociologist, Ferdinand Tönnies, echoed Ferguson's idea with his description of two very different forms of social coercion. In traditional and modern society, a concept variously interpreted by many subsequent sociologists.
Through a smartphone. The microscope, the feature that you mentioned, the labs, most routine labs, although they're not yet available to consumers, but they will be imminently. So the need to go to a hospital or a doctor's lab will be markedly reduced in the future.
Okay, and also your breath or saliva can be analyzed for the flu virus, strep throat, heart failure. Is that right?
Or maybe even cancer. I mean, the point being is in the breath, it's rich, and we already have been able to see simulation of the nose of a dog, which of course can smell cancer when trained. We can basically replicate that through sensors for processing breath. So all sorts of things that we never envisioned, as you said, saliva, sweat, the rich being able to understand what the constituents in these different body fluids or breath. So this is really exciting. It's going to take longer for this to come into play, but we're headed there.
Now, I understand that doctors have already created a mirror such that you blow on it, analyzes the water droplets, and tell you if you have lung cancer. And you can also